Japan, like some other Asian countries, are experiencing a birth dearth. So let's get into this from Newsweek. Japan's shrinking population faces point of no return. Familiar alarm bells sounded in Japan this month as year-end population figures and new projections combined to paint an uncertain future for Asia's #2 economy. Japan's total population stood just shy of 125 million for the year to October, a decrease of over 500,000 people from 2021 and a 12th consecutive annual decline, according to the report this month by its Statistics Bureau. Citizens aged 15 to 64 fell to 74 million, the lowest as a percentage of the population since 1945, and the number of people over 65 rose to 36 million, the highest proportion since 1920. The worrying data already watched for years emerged at the tail end of the Japanese economic miracle, which abruptly ended in the early 1990s. Low birth rates and high life expectancies together pose an unprecedented demographic challenge to Tokyo's policymakers, whose solutions are also being scrutinized. The speed of Japan's depopulation affected all prefectures last year apart from Tokyo and has outpaced official projections. In 2022, the number of newborns dipped below 800,000 for the first time since 1999. The government previously had expected fewer than 815,000 births in 2027. So they are getting older. People are not having as many babies. So this is about to be a problem because of the age of the people who's going to support them, basically. If present trends hold, annual births could fall below 500,000 by 2059, the Health Ministry affiliated National Institute of Population said on Wednesday. Let me show you the chart better. Okay, so here is the population, and it was growing from 1975. It's growing. You see the graph. It hits the high spot at 2005, and now it is on the trajectory down. Japan's fertility rate is about 1.3, among the lowest in the club of largely wealthy nations. To compare, America's at 1.6 right now. So we are kind of following Japan, and that's the reason why talking about Japan is important. Only Italy's 1.24 and South Korea's 0.78 were lower. All fell well below the 2.1 children per wife for a stable population. I'm sorry, the birth rate should be 2.1 per woman, not necessarily wife, because not everybody is married. This will require a part 2. So part 2 is coming. So this is part 2 talking about Japan's birth dearth. Masanobu Ogura, Japan's children ministry, cited the data in late March when he unveiled proposals that represented a last chance to reverse the decades-long downtrend. The plans, to be overseen by a new children and families agency launched April 1st, were an expansion of past policies that largely failed to move the needle in meaningful ways. They still just have a man running things. Why won't they talk to women or use women in these positions? Okay, to further reduce the financial burden of child rearing, the government will offer subsidies to cover childbirth and schooling, with families expected to receive tens of thousands of dollars throughout the newborn's early childhood and adolescence. For parents, the introduction of flexible work arrangements will, on paper, encourage more co-parenting. We will see if that works. While diverse views about marriage, childbirth, and child rearing should be respected, we want to make a society where young generations can marry, have, and raise children as they wish. The basic direction of our measures to tackle low births is to reverse the trend of declining births by supporting individuals' pursuit of happiness. This is the part right here. The government's new measures may be a stopgap for some families, but they leave Japan's rigid gender norms unaddressed. It is also unclear whether they can effectively offer the working mother more of her most valuable resources, time, ordinarily spent on children, but parents and in-laws too. At nearly a third of the population, senior citizens are a force to be reckoned with in Japan's democratic system. This is also important right here. Japan is about 10 or 20 years ahead of other countries that are going through this as well, and they're setting the groundwork of what to do and what not to do. And they are still not listening, and the women are the linchpin. When women say no because women are not wanting to take care of everything and everybody, women are shutting down the wombs. They are not going to procreate. You can put out as many incentives as you want to, but until society changes, women are saying no. Japanese women are in the same boat as South Korean women, who have been a lot more vocal around issues like childcare and paternal leave. Another is fertility treatment for women who want to have children later in life while advancing their careers. Women and their careers are important. That is the reason why you have to talk to women when you are making these policies. This is the last part. Women aren't really welcome back in the workforce after they have kids. There is a high expectation that they should stay home. There is also a higher burden on women to take care of children and the house on top of a full-time job if they're able to keep it. And there are too few women in the halls of power to make policy. This has to change.